What's poppin', y'all? Depending on who you ask, ZestBoyMax is currently on his diva or demon arc. I can't do the accents, or I'm not even gonna try to do the accent. I don't want y'all laughing at me, pointing and laughing. I might cry just like ZestBoyMax did. I won't be getting a One Love tattoo though, because that's one of the new things that ZestBoyMax has done, and he's getting called out or criticized by academics for the arc that he's trying to go on right now.
Maybe this is his new arc. I ain't gonna lie. This particular video here, I kind of understand the aesthetic he's going for. ZestBoyMax, if you ask me, okay, this is why I'm keep peeking. Let me just turn this down. ZestBoyMax, if you ask me, ZestBoyMax think he Prince. He going for a Prince aesthetic. You get what I'm saying? He going for that sexually fluid, a little bit bi. You know what I mean? He loves love. And yeah, like this felt like Prince, like you know what I mean, like something that would be in the Chappelle Show when they captured Prince. So he's dropping a song called Diva. Obviously, he has a tattoo of Diva on his side, and apparently he got a new tattoo like on like his finger, and it says One Love. But check this out. Tell me if this song's hot. Now y'all gonna hate me for saying this. I know y'all gonna hate me for saying this. Max, I think he's doing a good job of it. I'm not going to say trying to recreate because I don't want to speak for him. But he's feeling like, remember when Thug seeming like he was going out of his way to try to be misunderstood or do these things? Except Thug, the word about Thug was that Thug was an actual gangster doing this, right? Max, people look at as a streamer. They're just looking at him as just they don't get him. But I do think he's kind of on that arc. He kind of wants y'all to be like, yeah, look at my hair, look at my wig, look at my tattoo, look at my... And he's committing to it. He's getting actual tattoos. He's wearing provocative clothing.
I'm in agreement with what academics is talking about here, although there is a distinction to be made in that ZestBoyMax is making it very clear that he's with that rainbow stuff. He's like, I mess with that. What's wrong with that? He's hanging out with that wardrobe guy. He's buddy with him. He's really open to that lifestyle or being around that. Young Thug, while he was moving, you know how he was moving, dresses, boo, lover, blowing kisses, all of that. He was very disturbed, and one of the things that separated him from Rich Homie Quan was Rich Homie Quan had, I think that this is what severed their relationship permanently. Rich Homie Quan said that he had to leave Young Thug because he was moving to Rainbow for him, and Young Thug got insulted by that personally from Rich Homie Quan, and since then they didn't mess with each other at all, never recovered, their relationship never recovered. So clearly Young Thug is very bothered by that, and when he did the infamous interview with Big Bank, he said the two worst things you could be is either a rat or Rainbow. I don't think that's something that ZestBoyMax would agree with. So there's an important distinction to make between these two in that regard. Now, when we talk about like Prince, I don't think, let's take a look at Tyler, the Creator, for instance. Tyler, the Creator, was on Hypebeast forums. He was paying attention to, he knows in depth of writers, and he's got a deep knowledge of music history, why artists did a certain thing. And with ZestBoyMax, I think he's just surface level, to be honest. And I do think he's open to like the whole One Love thing, right? Like he got this One Love tat. The song that he previewed, I don't think it's bad. I think it's a good idea that he went with the Diva song. There's so much attention around it. The song is, I mean, it's not bad. ZestBoyMax doesn't make bad music, but would I say like ZestBoyMax makes great music? Not really. And there is that contrast and distinction between Thug being a gangster. That's what makes it so fascinating. It's like, yo, Thug is a gangster. This guy's a blood. He's throwing that up, bees, all that other stuff, barter six, and he's getting into shootouts, allegedly. Like, he's rolling with Birdman. His homies are getting into shootouts with Young Thug because he was beefing with Young Thug. So there's that contrast. With ZestBoyMax, there isn't much contrast. It's like, yeah, you're a young guy, you're a streamer, and you're doing zesty stuff. Like, what's so special about that? Now, if he went, I would say the contrast for a ZestBoyMax would be if he went like on some devil worshipping stuff, right? Which it is a tired trope, but it constantly works. Like when not Lil Uzi Vert, when Juice WRLD was doing it, he just had a couple of candles lit for a music video and people were losing their minds. But that was 2018. Oh, what was a more recent event? Something like that. I can't really think of too much. Like you've got the Ken Carsons and that ilk, but yeah, I don't really think I think it still hits depending on where you go with it. But yeah, yeah, so that would be more contrast than ZestBoyMax, because ZestBoyMax being a regular streamer and him, I don't know, like being into zesty stuff, it doesn't hit like that. But one thing that academics would talk about next is something that I would actually disagree with.
I think this is the aesthetic that he hopes to accomplish. The only thing I'll tell Max is this. Max, and I've seen, obviously the moment with you and the OJ Suave guy. Remember when Thug did all this? While a lot of people still consider him as a genius, a lot of people said that he was like really ahead of his time. Young Thug didn't really get a lot of love from that LGBTQ community. Here's the reason why. Young Thug was clearly not homosexual. And the thing with when you start flirting with this idea of you're sexually fluid, this and third, that community is not stupid. They're not just here to support the idea. They want to support the person. So if you're not Lil Nas X, you're not Saucy Santana, you're not Frank Ocean or someone else who's actually going to be, yes, I am a member of this community, all you're going to do is get rage. It's like rage baiting the straight community, because we're like, what the f*** are you doing? Why you got diva tatted? Diva? You are diva? You are demon. It's like, you're going to get that. But you're not going to get genuine support from a community that actually, like, we're in 2026. Gay people don't care that you're trying to, like, open up people's minds, pause, by saying that, hey, love is love. They care about gay people at this point. So if you're not gay, which Max continually has denied being a part of that community at all, that community will not support him. So what's going to end up happening is that he's just going to rage bait the straight community, and that's going to be maybe like clickable stuff, like he's going to get mad comments. But in reality, there is no extra support. Like, this idea, like if someone's actually gay, you actually do get points because you're going to get the gay community actually with you. But the gay community, it's not like 2005 anymore where it's such a taboo. They're happy for anybody who could like embody images of being homosexual or, bi or whatever. They only accept members, and I don't think Max at this point is willing to say he's part of that community. So I think what he's doing now is only rage baiting straight people. However, I do think he's going for a Prince aesthetic. The difference between some of the stuff he's doing and obviously what Thug was doing back then, this new Thug's a gangster. And this new, even some of the people who would play with him, they knew Thug would pull up and slap shit out of you. Well, not actually personally, but Thug was moving like that in Atlanta. I was hearing like, oh shit, this guy he's not to play with. So we're going to see what happens with this. I don't think, I won't sit here and rule out that this isn't Max's personality, but I will tell you that this effectiveness when it comes to promotion, it won't work as well because the LGBT community don't believe him.
The reason why I disagree with this is because a perfect example of somebody that goes against this is none other than NLE Choppa. And this is who he's really channeling. I don't know if he's consciously doing it. I do think he's going for the Prince look and the Young Thug inspiration. But if we're talking about, you guys remember the infamous performance of NLE Choppa when he was doing that Rolling Loud, when he premiered that song, Salute Me Out. That song, that hit in the rainbow community. And when he did that Paper magazine cover, that very zesty cover with a lot of like photographs, that hit with that audience. Now, did it hit with that audience because NLE Choppa was flirting with the fact that, he was into dudes? No, it hit because the music hit. And when you hear the sound of the music that NLE Choppa was making at the time, it's music that would be played within that community. Like, ZestBoyMax is making like straight rage music, and then he's adding this look to it, and it's not going to translate. And this is why I say there's a lack of depth with a ZestBoyMax. And he is right in that, like, for example, like a Lil Nas X would get accepted, but it's also the music part of it. Like, Lil Nas X wasn't making quote unquote straight, like, aggressive music, like I don't even know what to think of. I can't explain it music wise, but when you listen to a Lil Nas X, you're like, okay, I could see them messing with this. When you listen to Saucy Santana, I don't really know. I don't know Saucy Santana's music. No, this guy's got a Material Girl song. Like that, you're like, okay, that's for sure gonna hit. So I think it's more than just the identity, it's the type of music that's being created and if it's going to hit with that community. And that's why I say ZestBoyMax needs to have depth to what he's doing. He doesn't have depth. Like the guy recently said he just came back from Streamer University and he's like, yo, he hasn't smoked weed in 2 days. It's like, dog, weren't you at Streamer University talking about you hadn't smoked weed in 2 days again. It's like, what the hell's going on? So this guy's not going to quit the weed. Not saying he has to or anything, but clearly it's something important to him. He's not going to give it up. This guy's just surface level with everything. Like, he needs to, if he's trying to actually get a broader community and wants to tap into that, for what reason, I don't know. He doesn't need to. But if he wants to do that, this guy's got to start listening to that music. He's got to go like, yo, what music are y'all playing? What are the DJs that play at their events? What are they playing? Look at that, listen to that, see what that sound is. Like, go listen to some art pop, man. Listen to some Lady Gaga. Listen to some 2013. Well, really, you could go back to 2008, but that's a little bit dated. But listen to some art pop. Art pop is just such a great album overall. But listen to something like that. Listen to music. Listen to that NLE Choppa album that he dropped in that era. Pay attention to that and then tap into that. You can't just throw on an image and then keep the music the same and think it's gonna work. And this is why I said ZestBoyMax can be good at a lot of things, but he will never be great at any of them, because you need the time to dive in and get deeper into these topics. And like I said, depth doesn't mean lyricism. Depth means, for example, a Tyler the Creator. Tyler the Creator, when he created that whole world for damn near every single album release, but when he went full on, I believe it was Igor. I think it was Igor. He had the wig on. He had that suit on. He would walk around everywhere with that. And then I think when there was Call Me If You Get Lost. I don't know if this was the same era, but there was Call Me If You Get Lost, where he's everywhere with the briefcase. So there's a depth. There's a lot of thinking that goes into the planning of the rollout, the universe that he's creating around it, the performances that happen around it, versus ZestBoyMax. It's like this guy's just doing try-on hauls. It's like, okay, I got this wig now. I'm switching up to this wig. Now I've got like this new music video. Now I've got this new tattoo. And it's just novelty, surface level stuff where there's no thought being put behind it, versus, oh, what's going to get a bunch of attention right now? And that's not going to build the long-term fan base, which is why I say again, if he wants to focus on this music stuff, he's got to have somebody with him that's like a very talented creative director that can create this world for him that he trusts. And he's like, okay, I'm just going to do exactly as you say, because that's going to take a lot of time and that person can do that. Or he's going to have to devote more time to that and less time to streaming and planning and doing whatever else the hell he's doing. Because even with an NLE Choppa, like we said, like there was depth to that era of NLE Choppa, like the type of music, the performances that he was doing, the covers and the magazines that he was getting involved with, the photos that he was taking. All of that was an era of NLE Choppa. And then you move on to the next. This is why I think like NLE Choppa is a very, very talented artist. We're talking about music videos, and like I said, creating these worlds for different eras of his career, which Tyler the Creator is one of the best at. But also when you talk about Utopia, like the release of Utopia, you had those briefcases that he was going around everywhere with. ZestBoyMax, we're just seeing, we don't even know. They're talking about Diva, Demon. He got a tattoo. An impulsive decision, mind you. He even says like, oh, he was just high and he got a tattoo. And he was probably just high and he got a One Love tattoo. Like a tattoo to the ode to the moment he cried when a grown man said, are you a diva or a demon? And you feel insulted. I would feel, personally, I feel insulted sometimes where I'm like, does this guy really think, I feel insulted for other people. He's like, does this guy really think this is going to work? Zero depth, just shallow surface level stuff. And it's gotten him quite far right now, but it's not going to carry you over the long term. You're just going to have to keep cycling new novel thing after new novel thing. And people like Tyler the Creator, for instance, they switch it up, but it's after you've done 2 to 3 years. It's like a couple of seasons of a show, and then you move on to the next one. Whereas with ZestBoyMax, it's like 2 to 3 days, and then there's a new wig, and then there's a new style. There's nothing really consistent. Like when you look at Prince, there were eras of Prince's career where he was moving a different way, making different type of music, and then there was the whole era where he switched up his name. But ZestBoyMax, I think he's just like, yo, that's kind of cool, that's kind of fire, that's like aura, let me just like grab a little bit of that, without understanding why, how long it took to come up with it, and how long it lasted. And that is really the problem, more of like an attention span problem than anything else. So if ZestBoyMax made the appropriate type of music and made things like more thoughtful, I do think he would be hitting that audience. Which, why do you want to hit that audience in the first place? That's the question that I have. Because I don't think ZestBoyMax has an answer for that. I think he's just like, well, it's like One Love. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, you haven't even captured the hip hop audience, which you are so much closer to, and you're trying to jump all the way over and leap to a different audience. It's like, dog, how about you dominate where you're at currently and then you go somewhere else? How about you get a smash hit first where you've already had success before, within the rules that you're bound by in this realm, before going over somewhere else? But hey, man, it is entertaining to watch. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And I'm going to see you on the next one.